Welcome to the Jill on Money Show. It is Wednesday, February 12th, and we are here trying to help you make better financial decisions, maybe just to kind of coach you along your game. We're just being there for you, propping you up, maybe giving you some constructive feedback. And, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on in the universe that is out of your control. Many of the issues we talk with you guys about, we really want to focus on the things that are within your control. And so if you would like to get a better handle on those things, why don't you get in touch with us? Go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button. Let us know if you'd want to come on the air with us live. While you're on the website, you've got to check out all the content. We've got another podcast. We've got a radio show. We've got a blog. We've got resources. And we have a free weekly newsletter. Comes out every single Friday. Mark does a great job with that. Okay, right now, let's go to listener Rob, who's on the line from Seattle. Hello, Rob. How are you? What can we do for you?
I'm great. Thanks. Nice to be here, Jill and Mark.
Excellent. What's going on?
Well, I am thinking of retiring early, about a year from now. I'm 56 years old, and I'm wondering if I can pull this off.
Okay. Well, let's see. Are you married, single, partnered?
Single, no kids or anything like that.
Boy, these singletons with no obligations, the world's your oyster, man. Of course, as I like to say to my sister about her kids, she's like, oh, you have so much freedom. I'm like, yeah, but I'm going to be old and alone and no one will take care of me except maybe Mark's son. That's why I'm going to try to really suck up to him as I get older. So, Rob, you're working now. How much do you earn?
$108,000.
Are you going to be entitled to a pension?
No.
Have you squirreled away a ton of money because there's no college education or no kids eating up all your money? What's going on in your savings?
I've saved a reasonable amount of money, I think. I didn't get started, the earliest, but certainly within, the last 10 years, I've been squirreling away a lot more money.
Okay, so do you have money in retirement accounts or non-retirement accounts or both?
In retirement accounts, I have in my 403B, I have $625,000.
Pre-tax, right?
Pre-tax.
Yep. Okay.
Outside of my employer retirement account, I fully fund a Roth.
Okay.
And I have $135,000 in that.
All right. Great. And any brokerage accounts?
I don't have any brokerage accounts.
Savings, like boring, safe money.
Boring, safe money. My bank account floats between $4,000 and $8,000 a month.
Okay.
When I retire, I will be able to cash out a certain amount of my sick time and put that into an HSA, which would be about $24,000.
Okay, wait. Sick time to an HSA, $24,000 at retirement. Okay, got it. Regardless of when you retire, right?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Anything else, like you have rental property that you own, any other way that you will have income in the door if you were to retire early?
I will inherit part of a wheat farm.
What?
Yeah. That's my mom's side of the family. So I have one brother, and when my mom passes, my brother and I will inherit. Not big.
Okay. You know what I'm thinking. I have like a vision in my head of those like massive plots of land in the middle of the country where, I just think that's all you. What's the wheat farm worth right now?
It's not a big operation. My guesstimate is that I would probably get about $10,000 a year.
Okay. But you wouldn't sell it? Like, does it have some value beyond that?
It has value. It's dry land wheat farm. I don't know what the value of it would be. I wouldn't be that inclined to sell it because it's been in the family. I mean, I'll be the fourth or fifth generation.
Well, then what happens to it with you? You've really shirked your responsibility. You have no heirs.
Yeah,
Does your brother have heirs?
No.
What?
We are not farmer kids.
Oh my God.
The wheat is farmed for us.
Okay. All right, whatever. $10,000 a year. That's going to be like a tiny bit of money. So
yeah, I've got a condo.
How much is it worth?
About $525. I owe $200, and my plan would be to sell it. And I think I'm estimating fairly conservatively, but I think I would net $250 out of it.
Okay, and that $250, what would you do then? Like, what's our game plan? If in a year, if you say, I want to retire, right? Next year I'm done. And you sell your condo and you got $250,000. What happens next?
Move to France.
Ooh, you're talking of something fun for us. So if you were to move to France, have you investigated this? Like, where
Yes.
would you move? All right, and also, do you have an EU passport for any reason? Is the other side of your family not wheat farmers, but I don't know, French winemakers? Do you have any EU passport possibility?
No possibilities there.
Okay, all right.
But I have done a lot of investigation about what it takes and what it costs to move there.
What do you think you spend right now? Just as you live your life in Seattle, what do you spend on an annual basis?
On a monthly basis, it's my nut is $4,600 a month.
All right. Mind if I say 5,000 a month? It's just easier
Sure.
for me. And do you think you will have similar $5,000 a month if you move to France?
No, I have done a lot of cost estimating,
Yep.
and I think it'll be $3K a month or $36,000 a year.
Okay. And
Well,
so do you think you're going to, I know this, like forever's a long time, but you want to move and want to be like there for a while. In other words, this is not like a year or two and come back, right?
true.
Okay.
I do have a backup.
What is it?
A good friend of mine would like me to come work for him, and he lives in the Midwest, and that would be a possibility if things didn't work out over there. I don't have any intention of coming back to the Pacific Northwest.
Well, right. You're like, I've been in yucky weather for a long time. I love it. And thank you very much. I'm done. So this plan, is it predicated on you retiring early and having no other income? Would you try to make some money working online, doing something, I don't know, just having some money coming in to defray the $3,000 a month in costs that you will be spending?
I would like to fully retire.
Boy, you're fried, aren't you? Jeez.
I am actually pretty fried.
Okay. So we need $3,000 a month net, right? You say,
Yes.
I'm going to sell the house for 250 grand. So we know that you're kind of set there. So is the game plan that you would say, I'm just going to, figure it at, so 57. So for, let's say 3 years, we need to get 40 grand out of that account, right? 40 grand each year, just so you have a little extra money. And so that way you're kind of having, like, the condo proceeds, you're going to use half of those proceeds in the first few years before we get to the time when you can access your traditional 403B. Is that about right?
I do have a rule of 55 thing going on here, so I can pull from my 403B.
On the other hand, why? I mean, I'm just
If-
saying, because you have that big chunk of money,
Yes.
you're not going to invest it. Do we need to have that as, like, what amount of money must we leave in cash just to, like, chill out?
I would like to retain that as cash or equivalent.
Just in case?
I plan on renting for a year just to kind of see if this is really going to stick. I have more of an owner mentality.
Okay.
I would be inclined to buy something, and it would be nice to have that to buy something.
Okay. But you would always have those costs locked in at around $3,000 a month, right? Even if you
Yes.
bought something.
Yes.
So then if you invoke the rule of 55 on the traditional 403B, you would pull the money out that you need. So let's say each year you're not making any money, so it's like not that big a deal. You could pull out 50 grand, 60 grand. I don't know. It probably is 50 grand for you, and that's about it. And pay the tax that's due and live on the rest, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Now,
Yes.
our fancy employer uses one of the big companies as our administrator, and they
Yeah.
have this fancy software system that is a Monte Carlo based system
Love the Monte Carlo.
based on the things that I've told you now, minus the condo. That's not in that system.
Sure.
They say that in a significantly below average market, I could pull out 47, 49 a month, or in an average market, 5,100 a month. That seems kind of high.
It seems high to me. I would err. The reason why that works is if the market's going up, but if you're in a downdraft, then it's also saying like you should actually take out less money, and I don't think you want to live that way.
Yeah.
So I agree. Over time, that's true, but I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't start with that as my premise.
Okay.
So I would be more like $4,000 a month is what I would start with.
Okay.
Okay. And that's how I would start. And $4,000 a month, this should do it. Now you're going to pull money out. And at some point, you're going to, plow through this money, right? Mm-hmm. The traditional 403B is going to be gone. So here's what's going to happen. Let's say over 10 years, you're retired, right? 10 years, that account is done, the 403B. So you don't even get to required minimum distributions, but you're going to exhaust that account just for fun, okay? You'll still have your Roth, and you'll still have your HSA, and you'll have either a bunch of money that you're like, oh, I never found anything I really liked. I'm a long-term renter in France, and the 250 we would have probably invested some chunk of it. Or you'll have something you own, but you're still living in that same level. What's your Social Security benefit at age 70?
At age 70, it's $4,000 a month.
So it's pretty close. You know what? Here's what I think. I think this is tight. I don't know what Mark thinks, but I mean, it kind of sort of works if everything goes great. If anything goes wrong, you are going to have a problem. And so what is the thing that could go wrong? A year from now, you're retired, everything is great. You're like, oh, $3,000 a month is what I thought. But then actually we have some strange situation in Europe where there is inflation again, and your costs are more like $3,500, $4,000 a month. The markets have collapsed. You're freaking out. And now you're like, I don't want to plow through my 403B. So that is one piece of it. The other piece of it is that you're really young and you could live a long time. So, Mark, what do you think? Do you think this is a doable plan, or is this a doable plan for now until we what do you want to do with this? This is a toughie one for me.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly wouldn't do it under your scenario. I would not be draining those retirement accounts. I'm not saying don't do this, but if you're going to do it, the way I would do it is you sell the condo, you have those proceeds, you use that money to get to France, to live, to do what you want to do for the next 1, 2, 3 years, see if this is going to work. You leave your retirement accounts alone and let those continue to grow. That's the way that I would proceed. And then you figure out, okay, I'm going to stay in France, or I'm going to go work for my friend in the Midwest.
I mean, look, there's the thing that I think is smarter about doing it is you can do all the research you want until you're there and living on the ground, and you don't know really what's going on until you're in it. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't have a problem though, Mark. If he wants to just do, try to take $4,000 a month out of his 403B, you don't have to do it $4,000 a month forever. You can do $4,000 a month for a year and see where you are and preserve the possibility, because maybe that 250 he's going to need to go move back to the Midwest. I do think for you, you're so young. If you're willing to take on this risk, you've got to decide which risk scares you more: not having the cash or starting to reduce your 403B. Is there any way that we can get you to kind of delay this for a year or two so that you can beef up that savings even more?
I could. I mean, my employer doesn't want me to leave.
Would your employer be willing to have you work remotely from France for a while?
No.
Wow. That was my choice there. It's too tight for me.
Okay.
I've outlined the risks for you. If even if you just delay till you're 59, just a couple more years, I think it really does work better. In that environment, I would start stockpiling a lot more cash. And I would also find out what this wheat farm situation is all about. Because if maybe you're wrong, maybe it's like not $10,000 a year, maybe it's $20,000 a year for all you know.
True.
We want to incorporate that. We're wimps.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I share the same concerns, but I want to make a change in my life.
Well, then move to the Midwest.
we're not saying don't do it, but it's just not a slam dunk.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
but if you do it, we want pictures.
Right. Exactly, and we wanted the address
and an address. Yeah. I mean, I get it. It's just like one of those things. You only live once, right? You want to do this, but there's some risk involved.
Yep.
Yeah, and just because you don't have kids or dependents doesn't mean there's no risk. There's risk to you. I just like to have more options. And I feel like we may not, we're cutting it so close that may rob you of some options in the future.
Okay.
Make sense?
Makes sense.
All right, good. All right, gang. You ready to move to France? Going to hang out with Rob and Mark?
Oui.
Get in touch with us. Go to JillOnMoney.com. Click the Contact Us button. Of course, let us know if you'd be willing to come on the air. Because, by the way, if Rob sent this as an email and just sort of said, all these things. I don't know. I'd have to really hear in the voice, like what's happening. So that's one of the reasons we like to hear from you. You can always change your name. Don't worry. We're cool with that. You can subscribe to us on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Try to lift someone up. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow.